Today I want to talk with my first-time home buyers. You're looking out at the landscape of the housing market and you're seeing headlines like inflation and falling housing prices and high interest rates and high prices and low inventory and multiple offers and all these things. It's really hard to buy a home in an area like San Diego. It's a really high cost of living area. Homes are expensive, rates are high, inventory is low. It's a challenging place to be. So what are some things that we need to think about, and what are some things that we need to do as a first-time home buyer in order to get us prepared? And really a lot of this advice goes to home buyers at any stage, but specifically for our first-timers, like, okay, what do we need to do? First things first is we need to look at our personal budget, right? How much of our personal budget do we have available for housing? You're going to want to look at your current amount of income, your current amount of debt, your savings amount, your comfort level with these different things. And housing is typically the largest expense in your budget. Because when I bought my first place in 2014, I was renting a 2-bedroom apartment in North Park for $1,400, and I was buying my first house and my payment was $2,100. That $1,400 to $2,100 jump was a lot. It's hard to jump from rent to mortgage when the price is going up that much. So the first step for a first-time home buyer is understanding what line items in your budget can be manipulated to allow you more budget for housing if that's the direction you want to go. How do I make more income? So the first thing we need to do is look at our personal budget and determine, okay, what kind of budget do I have for housing? I can afford this much a month in housing. How much house is that? Is that a $400,000 house? Is it a $700,000 house? And that's going to be determined by, is there HOA? Is there Melrose, property taxes, what the interest rate is? It's going to depend on a variety of factors. So first find the budget, then find the type of properties that you can search for given that budget. And when I say budget, it's not only the monthly payment budget, but it's the budget for down payment and closing costs as well. So we need to take your financial picture into consideration, figure out what you're willing to pay per month, what your savings are, and what kind of properties are out there that can meet your budget. Then once you decide, okay, great, there are properties out there that might meet my budget, then it's time to get pre-approved if you haven't already, and start working with a real estate agent to start shopping for houses. So one of the best pieces of advice I can give to a first-time home buyer is to buy a house. When you're out there, when it makes sense in your personal financial budget and there's something out there that roughly fits your needs, buy it. Because I think where a lot of first-time home buyers get caught up is trying to find the perfect house or something with no warts, or, I want all of my needs to get met in this first house. And the fact of the matter is, most people don't buy the final home, the dream house, on the first go. In fact, most people I know, it takes them their second or third purchase before they buy the house that they're going to be in long term, and that's their quote unquote dream home. So buy a home that works for you today, and if it's something that you can envision yourself in for long term, great. And if it's not, that's okay too. Get into something. And the reason I say that is this: most people who live in big, beautiful homes or wonderful homes that fit their family in these incredible areas is because they are on their second or third purchase. I'll talk about my situation specifically. I was renting a 2-bedroom apartment in a really chic part of town. There was no way I was able to afford a house in North Park for my first home. I would have loved to stay there, but it was a little bit out of my range. So I ended up buying a house in a less desirable neighborhood, and I lived there for 5 years. I had a 5-year plan there. I said, okay, I'm going to buy this house, and I know it's not the area I want to be in. I liked the house, I liked the neighbors, all that was fine, but I knew that I wanted to be in a nicer neighborhood with a bigger house in the future, and I knew the stepping stone for that was going to be to buy the first one. So I bought the first house. In that 5-year period, had I not bought the house, I would have paid close to $100,000 in that 5-year period in rent. And that's $100,000 I would have never got back. Instead, with the increased mortgage payment, I ended up paying around $130,000 in payments in that 5-year period. So you have to make sure that it fit my budget. You have to make sure it can fit your budget. So I paid $130,000 in payments for that 5 years. And when I sold the house, I walked away with $180,000 in equity. I took that $180,000. I bought the next house. It was a bit of a fixer-upper. I bought it for a low price, fixed it up a little bit, also caught the upswing in the market, sold that house, and now I'm on my third house, and it's in Pacific Beach, a beautiful area, an area I've always wanted to live, but there was no way I was ever going to be able to buy in Pacific Beach without the equity gains in the first and second houses. So the best advice I can give to a first-time home buyer is just get in the market if it makes sense for your personal financial situation, and if you're going to be able to be there a while, and you are finding housing that's comfortable for you. Like I said, don't move a family of 5 into a 1-bedroom, right? That doesn't make sense. There's a better plan than that. But if you are a single person or a couple and 1-bedrooms are your option, or 2-bedrooms are your options right now, maybe in less desirable neighborhoods, pull the trigger on it, because the equity gains that you make from owning real estate typically outpace your ability to save. Meaning, on my income in that 5-year period for my first house, there is no way I would have been able to save $180,000 in cash to make the next purchase. The only reason I had access to $180,000 in cash to make the next purchase is because I bought the first one and I rode the wave of appreciation, because that's what will springboard you to the second house or the third house, and that's when you're really able to find yourself buying a house that is, you know, closer in alignment with the dream house. So I hope that information is helpful. Getting in the market, buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to buy real estate, because I'm telling you, my situation, and I could tell you countless stories like it, where getting in and waiting and taking advantage of the appreciation is actually what springboards people into wealth and into the next home and the next one, which tend to be bigger and better and brighter. So good luck to you. Connect with us if we can be of any help, and I'll talk to you soon.